Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. This video is a good example that someone asked me a question. And in this particular case, the question is about how long can you store spaghetti noodles? But this is a slight twist to that. Because this viewer told me that she has learned a technique that she can convert spaghetti noodles into ramen noodles by simply boiling the spaghetti noodles with baking soda. As you can see, I added right here. So what I did is that I boiled 2 pounds of spaghetti noodles and I add approximately about 2 tablespoons of baking soda. As you can see that as soon as I add the baking soda, you see a lot of bubble formation. And this is what happened to baking soda because with baking soda, the chemical composition is sodium bicarbonate. And when you heat it up or when you react it with acid, it will produce a lot of gas. And the gas is mainly carbon dioxide. Now, this method is suggested by a number of people on the internet. Is that they suggest that if you take spaghetti noodles and boil it with sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, you can make them taste like ramen noodles. So after doing some research, I realized that this might work. Kimchi turned out to be important in making ramen noodles. In fact, kimchi is the deciding factor what makes ramen noodle taste like ramen noodles. Kimchi is actually it's kind of a mineral water. It is a water that is specially obtained from certain part of China, mainly in Inner Mongolia. And the reason is that kimchi has been used for generations for making noodles because it gives the noodles a special characteristics that are unique to ramen noodles. And one of the reasons is that kimchi contains several different types of minerals within it. For example, the kimchi contains sodium carbonate, it contains potassium carbonate, as well as a small amount of phoric acid. Now, how kimchi play a role in create the type of characteristic of ramen noodle is probably due to the interaction of the chemicals with the wheat flour. And in this case, the chemicals that cause the wheat flour to change in such a certain way, it creates a texture that are unique for ramen noodles. And so the idea of using the baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate, and probably based on a similar idea. So instead of using kimchi, maybe it is possible to use baking soda. Now, as you can see in here, I boiled 2 pounds of spaghetti pasta noodles. And in fact, the best way to cook spaghetti pasta noodles or any type of noodles is used in a wok. I use a Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok. Now the wok is great for this purpose. As you can see that it is able to accommodate 2 pounds of spaghetti noodle without any problem. And I fill the wok with water and I keep it boiling and I add sodium bicarbonate to the water. Now, as you notice that there's a lot of bubble coming from the water, it's mainly because of the release of carbon dioxide. Because when sodium bicarbonate is being heated up, it will release carbon dioxide. Now, I have cooked noodle like this for many times in the past, and I use the same spaghetti noodles as I use here. Now, one thing I noticed is that the spaghetti pasta noodle, when I cook in this way, it expanded far more than I normally would. So in this case, you can see that the entire wok is almost completely filled up with the spaghetti noodles. And it normally does not happen like this. So clearly, something has happened to the pasta noodles when I boiled it with baking soda. And the reason is that it probably caused the noodles to expand more than it normally would. In other words, it probably absorbed more water than it would be otherwise. And this might be important for creating the flavor and texture for these noodles. So by now, you notice that everything almost completely filled up in the wok. I have only very little amount of water left. Now, the wok actually turned out to be great because one thing that I have read about making this noodle is that it tends to boil over, and partly because of the production of carbon dioxide and cause the water to form foam. But however, when I cook it in the wok, I don't have any problem of the water boiling over, even though I have the heat on high all the time. The one thing I do is that I constantly stir the noodles, as you can see in here. And by stirring the noodles, partly I prevent it from boil over. And also, it is also important to stir the noodle, because if you don't, the noodle tends to stick to the bottom of the wok and it will get burned. So when you cook noodles like this is important for you to stir it on a regular basis. Now, in this case, the wok is making it perfect for that purpose because it's very easy to stir as compared to if you cook it in a spaghetti pot, which I used to do that. Okay, it took me about 6 to 7 minutes, and this noodles is pretty much done. And what I do is that I have a bowl of cold water right next to the wok. So instead of taking the wok and try to drain the water into the sink, I just use a spider strainer, which I'm going to remove the noodles and put it into the cold water. This will stop the noodles from cooking, and that's really the main reason why you want to put the noodles in the cold water. And this way is much simpler because it makes less mess as compared to if you try to carry the entire wok, which could be quite heavy, and then when you pour it, you potentially could pour out the noodles as well. But this method works out really well. So as you can see that it is nice to have a large strainer like this one, and this strainer actually also comes in a bowl. So as you can see in here, I got quite a bit of noodles, and it filled up almost the entire bowl. But one thing you notice is that there's a lot of foam that's present with the noodles. So I decided I think I better just rinse off as much baking soda as I possibly can, because the baking soda might not taste that good. So it took me about 3 or 4 rinse. And each time when I rinse it, I use a pair of tongs to stir the noodles, and that works out very well. And by about the 4th rinse, the water started to become quite clear, and I decided that probably is good enough. So all I have done is that I'm able to cook quite a bit of noodles. And one of the questions that the viewer asked me is that, can you store the noodles? Now, with regular spaghetti pasta noodles, I have no problem in storing them, and they're usually able to store for up to a week to 10 days, and still retain their normal quality. And I believe that these noodles probably will be the same. So after I finished cooking it, I decided I'm going to give it a taste. I discovered that it actually tastes quite different from the normal pasta noodles. And the taste is a little bit more crisp than what otherwise it would be. And it just has a less kind of a starch taste that normally associate with the pasta noodles. So does it work? I think it does. And one thing I do know is that just right from after when I'm cooking it, I can see the noodle actually cook very differently, and they expand it in a different way. So the next step for me to do is try to cook with it and to see what I can make from these noodles. So I already cooked 3 dishes. I cooked 2 chow mein dish, and I also cooked a ramen noodle soup dish. And all of them turned out really well. So instead of adding to this video, I'm going to discuss some of the results that I cooked with this ramen noodles with these dishes, and to show you what they are like. And as a whole, I'm quite happy with the outcome. I think it will work. It will give you a different type of experience. And by using pasta noodles, which is readily available in more supermarkets, you can have 2 different kinds of noodles by simply boiling them differently. And the process of boiling them is really simple and straightforward. So what I did is that afterwards, I stored them into a plastic container, and I stored them in about a 2.5 to 3 cup portions, which will be enough for me to cook for 2 or 3 people. So here are a couple examples. First is a ramen noodle soup dish that I make. And then I also make a ramen noodle stir fry like a chow mein. Again, like I said, I will provide you with some additional information later on and tell you what the outcome is like. I would like to thank this viewer for asking these questions. So if you have any questions or videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system so that you can make home cooking as part of your daily routine. So if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.